They say that if you want to win, you need a great leader. Someone who can call the shots and find order in the chaos. Someone who can rally the troops when all seems lost. Someone who can lead by example and clutch up when they're needed most. But what if all of that was bullshit?
Nearby though is Jing, showstopper at the ready. Looking to catch one, does find him. Spike now, gonna be dropped down onto the ground. Showstopper, and he's saying you've got no time to work with. Sends out the showstopper, Crashy's gonna be dead. Cleans up finesse, victory is in the hands of Jing.
See, one Valorant team recently kicked their in-game leader, and they're looking better than ever. So we had to ask the obvious question. Do esports teams actually need an IGL?
And surely, that is it, and it is! Defy will be the one to drag them over the line! 13-6, a reverse sweep and a 5-map set. Paper X are inaugural PCT Pacific champions.
Hey guys, before we get into the video, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and you can also ring the notification bell so you know right away when our new videos are out. If you have a great time today, liking the video is a great way to let us know that you enjoyed yourself. Cheers. All right, so a few months back, Paper Rex weren't doing so hot. They were humiliated by Cloud9 at lock-in, and once the Pacific League got underway, their season got off to a rough start.
A brief little contact, but Benkai, the IGL, left on his lonesome. He will die alone in the alley. Dubstep finds 3.
Tobias is ult. Curious if he's going to try to pop this to kind of prevent any of the aggression. Buzz is just shutting him out anyway. RB good for another. It's over.
Beautifully done. That's going to be it. Malcolm pokes back out. He gets one.
God.
He gets one.
Oh my
God! Clutch. That's it. CRX goes 2-0 against Paper Rex.
PRX had to make a change before they fell too far behind to make it back to the international stage. So they looked to something, a cracked Jet player who was farming Japan's Challengers League.
囲い込んでいき、逃げ場をなくします。残ったらタワー2。スミス。
Something was Paper Rex's 7th player, which led to them shuffling their lineup for different maps. That led to some success, but they still weren't happy with their progress, so they made the difficult decision to bench their beloved IGL, Benkai.
When something joined the team, and we're running like a 6-man, 7-man roster kind of thing, it's very hard to actually get like synergy going with the players, you know. Even in practice when we're switching around players and stuff, like I tend to see like a drop off in performance. So eventually we had to settle on the playing 5. And since we had to play with someone had to go, you know what I mean? And it's more like a role clash kind of issue. Right now, Ben plays Sentinel roles for us, and in his way is Davai and Forsaken. They've both been playing very, very well. So, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer that we had to like put him in the back seat for a while. After losing to DRX, we thought, okay, look, it's not really working for us. I think we need more time to learn. We've learned a lot along the way, playing like a little bit more careful, single duelist, you know, kind of thing. And we just wanted to go back to like what we know is like comfortable for us.
This was a pretty weird roster move. Aside from the fact that Benkai was a fan favorite, most members of the Valorant community found it strange that PRX chose to bench their IGL in favor of a duelist.
When I think about replacing Benkai, by the way, I don't think that that's like... replacing him with not an IGL doesn't make sense. But also, I don't feel like he has real control of this team.
They just haven't done anything to fix their fundamental problems. They have instead like patched over it with adding even more firepower.
Now, Paper Rex were always known for their hyper-aggressive playstyle, but surely benching your IGL for another cracked aimer wasn't the play, right? For nearly 2 decades, games like Counter-Strike have convinced us that IGLs are a necessity for each and every team. Since the early days of 1.6, IGLs like Karn and Zeus have relayed the strapbook and micromanaged each player on the team to make sure that they're fulfilling their role within the server. They proved that victory in a tactical shooter was about playing as a cohesive unit, not trying to get 5 guys to frag out on the server with no coordination. By the time the community moved to CSGO, teams were signing players who could coach and IGL at the same time, something Valve banned in 2016.
I think if the game wants to get to a point where a coach is the in-game leader and he does all of the stuff that I just listed and more, he in-game leads, he is the heart and soul of the team, he's the captain of the team, he does the interview duties, he does the strategies, he does the mid-round calling, he manages the money, he does all of that shit, right? He literally is an in-game leader who does not have to shoot anybody in the head. If every single team was like that, that'd be fantastic, because what you'd have is you'd have 5 players in the server who are all fantastic at their roles and jobs of fragging cunts. And that's what their job would be.
Ever since Valve changed their rules regarding coaches, basically every top team runs a proper IGL. Sure, some teams have tried to make things work without an in-game leader, but it typically hasn't ended well. Look at basically any roster with Nico that dropped their IGL. For the most part, they all tend to regress. So it was pretty clear that Valorant, another TAC shooter, would be best played with an IGL at the front of any good roster. Players naturally adopted roster composition habits from CS. Riot even banned coaches from participating in-game as IGLs. Coaches are only allowed to communicate with their players during timeouts, halftime, and before and after the match. The rest of it falls to the IGL.
You need that respect from your teammates and kind of like lead by example. Like, you gotta be the hardest worker on the team. Like, your teammates need to believe in you, and like, oh, he's working so hard. He's like not messing around, no joking. Like, this is the voice of reason we need to listen to, and it just works out that way.
And this is where Paper Rex comes in. See, Benkai is a pretty solid IGL, but the team was always volatile. They had incredible highs, but some truly brutal lows. Weirdly enough though, when they benched Benkai and something became a regular fixture on the roster, they began winning more games. Although PRX said that Devi initially took over as the main caller, if you listen to their team comms, you'll notice that things can get pretty chaotic.
Molly, I go plant.
Woohoo!
Nice, Mikla.
Molly!
Nice.
My
Molly the rafter.
For the most part, PRX are constantly feeding each other information, while Something and Jing run around and kill everyone. And you can, of course, expect to hear their coach Alex mauling whenever they screw something up.
I mean, you go to the don't die! Lish, I told you this.
But despite not having a dedicated IGL, Paper Rex dominated Pacific Valorant.
North side, Zest gonna turn his sights back, gets the pinks hearing them pushing through it. Devi is gonna find first blood of the shorty, will be able to find his second kill. RB now struck down, gets a third. Devi, an absolute monster. Swings back out, looks to keep them at bay. DeFuzz and RB will come up with 2 more. Start to fall apart. Devi with the Sheriff, however, will be able to get the headshot. Brings it into a 2v3. A winnable position potentially. Taking out Mako, make it that much easier for them. He knows that he's low, wants to put that turret out, make it that much more difficult. Instead, it's just gonna be Jing pushing up, grabbing the spike, finding the kill. Players left, Devi. Good for 1, good for the 3rd! And Devi brings this round back from the brink. Paper X getting themselves another pistol round win. Suddenly, this could very well be doable. The ult is out, the Reckoning, just to try to slow him up, but he is rushing forward. Goes to the 50-50, turns back, manages to find one before they finally break him down. Something pushes up, finds one. The bite from Mako. Cove in, do they read this? Push into the smoke, Cess with a quick little pivot. Will be able to find him, but now RB gonna be taken down as Devi. On 7-0, I believe. Buzz eventually able to drag that crosshair around, but Devi finds the 3rd. I mean, the orbital strike, ready to go. And he's gonna commit it, but this is not necessarily a win! Devi absolutely crushes their hopes and dreams! And the spike, it never got planted into the corner. That showstopper goes. Mako tagged up, finds 2, finds 3. And Something does catch that. Catches the spike and catches Mako! Forsaken will have him. And surely, that is it. And it is! Devi will be the one to drag them over the line! 13-6! A reverse sweep and a 5-map set! Paper X are inaugural VCT Pacific champions!
PRX claimed the inaugural Pacific League trophy, and Something managed to snag the MVP award in the grand finals for his insanely dominant performance. It was later revealed that Forsaken did most of the calling in the grand finals, which might come as a surprise considering he used to be known as the guy who would lock in Yoru and frag out. But he did go into a bit more detail about his IGLing experience prior to the start of Masters Tokyo.
To be honest, in my team, everyone called, but on the grand finals before against CRX, like mostly like map bind, because on map bind I made a lot of like strategy for my team. So mostly I called on map bind, and the rest I still calls, but like I still call on like early round. So like mid round, maybe like Davai will take the call or like the duelist.
When PRX announced that Something was unable to compete at Masters Tokyo, everyone basically counted them out. They were forced to field their content creator and sixth man, CGRS, so expectations weren't exactly high. And yet, once again, PRX exposed conventional wisdom as a joke.
A 1v1 to see who can take this now to map point. CGRS, the stand-in. He knows he needs to rush this down. He needs to play for the kill. There's not enough time to go for the plan. He's swinging around the corner, and he manages to get it done! Somewhere the shorty doesn't find him! CGRS going to be taken down as Crashy stays tucked away in the back of sight. Takes advantage of the vulnerable out on a Jink. Forsaken, however, finds 2 quick kills, finds himself a third. Now the Reckoning available, and he's going to invest that immediately. A little bit of obfuscation, but there is going to be the ultimate. Orbital strike sent down. Forsaken trying to challenge, finds the 4th kill. Now on for the ace. This artist left standing and Forsaken! Nearby though is Jing, Showstopper at the ready. Looking to catch one, does find him. Spike now gonna be dropped down onto the ground. Showstopper, and he's saying you've got no time to work with. Sends out the Showstopper, Crashy's gonna be dead. Cleans up Finesse, and the round victory is in the hands of Jing!
Under the feet of Forsaken, this is pandemonium. Just a recall so that he can set himself up onto an angle, but who knows who's utils whose. Fade into the side, that's a satchel to punish, but such quick reactions. Forsaken! He's a menace!
It's the same system we've always used. Everyone calls. I try to make sure that all 5 of them are leaders in their own right.
Who would have thought that 5 IGLs is better than
5
1?
brains better than 1 brain, true.
In the end, PRX came up short in a 5-map thriller against Evil Geniuses, but they finished top 3 at an event where they were forced to play with a stand-in, and again, without an IGL. That said, PRX are an anomaly. They don't operate like most professional TAC FPS teams. Their fluid yet chaotic style of calling has worked for them because their players are so mechanically gifted. They thrive on mayhem and are able to work as a unit, often just out-fragging their enemies.
I think every team is different because you have different players, you have a different coaching staff. Like, I'm sure this way of me leading Emiri won't work on like other teams for sure. Because they're just like different personalities, different things. You just gotta understand the players you work with. They give you 4 players and you kind of like need to make a game plan or like strats that would make sense for the team.
If PRX proved that going IGL-less and focusing on fragging can work on the big stage, why can't it work for other teams? Well, if history shows us anything, you probably still want someone to take control in most cases. Having a great leader can often take a team from just good to amazing, while playing without any direction can send even the most promising squads plummeting into obscurity. That said, PRX are on the cutting edge of something new. It's hard to imagine a completely IGL-less future, but maybe, just maybe, there's something special going on there. Who's playing BattleBit? Come on. My friend that I've been playing with, he isn't like a first-person shooter guy at all, really. He's not playing the new Call of Duty. He's not like playing like realism shooters or any of that kind of stuff. But he saw me play this game and he got really into it. And I think he's gonna pass me in level today. There's people playing this game who would not even look at a Battlefield game. And the community is actually super dope. Play BattleBit.